Welcome to our first episode of Golden Eagle Sports Report this school year.
Tonight we have an exclusive interview with a member of the men's soccer team.
That's right, and the volleyball and women's soccer team are gaining momentum as conference play is underway. So get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report is back and better than ever.
Slam! Done! Oh, that's a poster!
Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Hello everyone, I'm Adrian Fraga alongside Allison McMillan. Earlier this week, I sat down with senior forward Beto Soto from the men's soccer team to discuss the team's hot start and what he did to prepare over the offseason. Here's what he had to say. Hello everyone, I am here joined with men's soccer forward Beto Soto. How are you doing today, Beto?
Good, how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty swell, I won't lie. But let's already get into it. So last year, Marquette was 5-9-4. Fast forward this season, and you guys are already 6-1. What's been the biggest difference like this year coming into the season?
I gotta say, I think the biggest difference is we have players that are more connected, it's more like a brotherhood this year. I'm not going to say last year wasn't a brotherhood, but this year we all have a different mentality. We don't want the same thing that happened last year to happen this year. So I feel like that's one of the biggest difference from last year and this year. It's just our mentality and going out there and give it all we have.
So your mentality, 4 years on the roster will do that to you, kind of build that strength and that mentality. So would you say that you've stepped up as a leader, as a senior this offseason?
So in the team we have 7 leaders, so we all try to do our part, try to help out the freshmen, try to help the young guys, which we try to help the most possible. We know that playing high school or club and then transform to a D1 can be quite difficult, so we just try to be there for them most possible for any advice they need or on the field and outside the field.
What's a typical off-season practice for you? How did you kind of work on your game and improve this off-season?
So this off-season, I try to work on various things. As a forward, I think you can always improve in your finishing. So that's something I definitely try to do. Another thing that I tried to work on was my mentality. Tried to not give up. Always try to give my best. And then the third thing, which I tried to work on, was my defending, which I think has really improved, but I can always improve more.
What's the most important part of your game, would you say? You kind of trying to build off that defense, so would you say that's arguably your most important part? You have 2 goals in the year, so.
I gotta say my most important thing is going at defenders, having the 1v1 and trying to beat them, and also providing passes to the other forwards so they can also score goals. But also defending is definitely a big part of my game. Like you said, I have 2 goals, and the first one was because of defending, so that's also a good thing. Yeah.
So you say you got that goal off defending, so would you say that's your favorite goal of the year so far?
For sure, yeah.
Yeah?
Definitely after I scored that goal, I thought to myself, hard work does pay off.
So what else was kind of running through your head in the moment?
So it's been a while since I scored a goal, so after I scored a goal, I forgot what should I do, how should I celebrate, even though I have a celebration that I like to do, but I was just so excited that I just forgot what to do, how to celebrate.
6-1. What's your favorite win so far this year?
Has to be against Madison, being a Wisconsin derby. And then it's been a while since we beat them, and then having them here with our fans at our field, definitely felt good beating them.
Yeah, there were a lot of fans at that game. And can we expect more fans how would you want more fans to get involved in Marquette soccer, kind of getting them more to games? How can fans continue to show support?
Well, definitely come to the games, even if you can always watch it in Flow Sports. But yeah, we've seen people around campus wearing the Marquette soccer shirts, which is definitely it brings a smile to our face. So even if you can't go to the games, just wearing our Marquette soccer shirt definitely helps a lot.
So you got a big game against crosstown rival UW Milwaukee coming up. And you guys last year beat them like bad. So how can you guys kind of build off that win going into this game?
Yeah, last year was a crazy game, but we don't want to, like you said, it was a big win, but we don't want to go into that game thinking it's gonna be another easy game. We know it's gonna be a difficult game, like you said, it's a rival game, and especially being at their field with their fans, it's definitely gonna be difficult. But I definitely believe we can pull it off, and we definitely want to keep that Milwaukee Cup trophy at Marquette where it deserves to be.
So you have 2 assists on the year as well. What of those 2 assists, like who would you say on the team you have the best connection with?
That's hard because I feel like I have a very good connection with all my teammates on and off the field. But if I had to say, it's probably Christian Marquez. He's the guy that plays behind me, and we definitely have a good connection on and off the field. He's one of my best friends, so I have to say him. We definitely have to play on with each other.
So the chemistry is definitely there.
The chemistry is definitely there.
And so how else do you guys build chemistry as a team then? Like what do you guys do to help kind of, obviously you have the practices, and obviously there's no better way to get kind of all together in the moment than just truly putting it all out there on the line. So how else do you guys kind of build off that?
We definitely try to have team activities when we have time, either trying to go mini golfing, going to the park, going to the beach whenever we have time. So definitely having activities outside the field definitely helps.
What's your pregame ritual going into every game? Do you have one?
I do. So I have this wood cross that my grandfather gave to me. So I always have to wear that before the game. And then I always have to step to the field with my right foot, which is something. And another ritual is calling my parents before the game. So the 3 things that I have to do before a game.
Favorite music to listen to before a game?
Right now it has to be Travis Scott. That's someone.
Utopia?
Yeah.
Who gets aux in the locker room though?
We have various guys that get aux in the locker room. Well, I gotta say the top 2 is either Patrick or Marquez, and they do a pretty good job at hyping us up with their music. So
this is a little bit more of a fun question, but who would you kind of consider to be like your favorite soccer idol? Like who's your soccer idol?
Neymar.
Neymar?
Yeah, I looked up to him since he was in Barcelona. I always enjoyed watching him play, do his skills, which I try to transfer into my game.
Thank you so much, Beto. It was a blast having you on the show. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it really was an honor having him on the show with us.
Coming up, both soccer teams were back in action over the weekend. We discuss more after the break.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. because love has no labels.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Adrian Fraga.
And I'm Allison McMillan.
The number 13 ranked Golden Eagles open up their road play against the Creighton Blue Jays, hoping to keep their 6-0 record alive.
Marquette, a scoring machine on the season, netting a national best 19 goals through 6 matches, is met with a strong Creighton defensive wall, which quiets the Golden Eagles offense early.
Those Blue Jays ride off that defense and they break open the scoring in the 20th minute.
Junior midfielder Landon Sloan finds the back of the net, giving the Blue Jays the 1-0 lead early on. And only 4 minutes later, the Blue Jays convert once again thanks to the goal from graduate student forward Alfie Pope.
And the Golden Eagles have no answer and head into the locker room down 2-0 at the half. But Marquette refuses to go away, and in the 63rd minute, finally sees one go through.
Scoring a long-distance goal, sophomore defender Kyle Beebe cuts the Blue Jays' lead to 1 with just over 20 minutes left in regulation. But the late game push is not enough as the Golden Eagles drop their first loss of the season to Creighton, 2-1. But in about just 15 minutes, the men are back in action against crosstown rival University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Here's what you need to know about tonight's match. Tonight will be the 49th meeting between the Golden Eagles and Panthers. The rivalry dates back to 1973, with UWM winning 17 of the last 31 games. But because of COVID-19, the Milwaukee Cup has put on hiatus for 2 years. Last season, the Milwaukee Cup returned, and it was all Marquette as the Golden Eagles took home the victory, 5-2 behind Alex Mersenberg hat trick. The Golden Eagles will look to lean on graduate student Brooklyn Merle, who leads the squad with 5 goals on the season.
The women's soccer team is looking to continue stacking up those wins in final non-conference game against St. Thomas. And after a very static back and forth during the first 24 minutes of the game, St. Thomas finally puts a point on the board from junior forward Mariah Nguyen. But Marquette doesn't take long to respond. Only 2 minutes later, first-year defender Emily Fix scores her first collegiate goal with a header to balance the game out. Neither team could gain an edge, and the game ends in a 1-1 draw, the Golden Eagles' second tie on the season.
And for the first time this season, the Golden Eagles have a player taking home a weekly conference award.
Marquette first-year forward Taylor Schad pops up on the Big East Honor Roll after a career week.
Schad secures her spot after netting her first collegiate goal in the win over Western Michigan and set up the game-winning penalty after drawing a foul in the box.
Schad also racks up an assist on the week, giving her 3 points in 2 games.
Riding a 2-game winning streak, the women's volleyball team welcomes in the number 7 ranked Oregon Ducks Sunday with hopes of getting their first ranked win this season. The first set is close with both teams trading points until the Ducks jump out to a 7-point lead and never look back.
Those Ducks go on to win the first set 25-16 after recording back-to-back kills.
With 1 set in the books, Marquette looks to flip the switch and steal one back.
The second set is similar to first, with neither team establishing a commanding lead.
Marquette begins to pull away, but Oregon crawls right back and jumps back on top, 20-17.
Head coach Ryan Tice calls a timeout in hopes of regaining some momentum, but it's all too late as Oregon closes out the second set 25-19.
With their back against the wall, Marquette needs some magic in the third set, and the Golden Eagles do just that,
Thanks to back-to-back service aces from Molly Briowitz, Marquette jumps out for a quick 4-0 lead. But the magic ends there, and the Ducks lean on reigning Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, Mimi Collier, and storm back and sweep the Golden Eagles 3-0. Collier ends the day with 18 kills and 15 digs for the senior, and the senior outside hitter Aubrey Hamilton leads the way for the Golden Eagles with 12 kills of her own. After the 2-2 week for the volleyball team, one Golden Eagle sees her name on the Big East honor roll. Senior outside hitter Aubrey Hamilton lands on the honor roll after putting up an impressive 58 and 8 blocks in 4 games for Marquette. Hamilton also reaches 1,000 career kills during the match and against the #1 ranked Wisconsin Badgers.
Coming up this week in sports, the women's soccer team hosts the DePaul Blue Demons Thursday at 7 p.m. at Valley Fields.
The volleyball team plays Villanova Wildcats this Friday at the Owl at 7 p.m.
On Saturday, the men's soccer team travels to Indianapolis to play the Butler Bulldogs at 6 p.m.
But let's not forget the volleyball team has back-to-back and also plays on Saturday versus the Georgetown Hoyas right here at the Owl at 6 p.m. Coming up in professional sports, does Joe Burrow even care about football anymore?
Plus, is Colorado a real threat in college football?
We'll figure all this stuff out after the break.
Have you ever seen somebody treated unfairly because of the color of their skin?
Do you guys know what it means to have white privilege?
What is racism and what do you think about it?
Talk to young children about what racism is, giving them the language to understand it. They can be disruptors. They can shape and shift culture.
We may not always know the answer, but we'll try and help you learn.
You don't have to have all the answers, but that doesn't mean we can't start.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
What are you looking for?
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight, both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back, because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
Studio 7 as we discuss the latest news in sports. Joining me on the panel tonight is Adrian Fraga and Joey Mernon. Let's get started. Justin Fields, is he the answer? The Chicago Bears and third-year QB Justin Fields were getting loads of hype coming into the NFL season after trading for star receiver DJ Moore. But after embarrassing losses to the Packers and Buccaneers, should the Bears start to panic?
I think the Bears should definitely start to panic. This is looking like a horrible season for them. Their defense is off the charts bad. It is nothing like they expected, and Justin Fields has looked absolutely horrible.
Well, as you can see there, in the preseason, Justin Fields' odds were 2,500, but now after those just poor play and bad losses, he's down to plus 1,000. But who do you really think could end up being like the biggest factor here? Because I think Justin Fields is cooked. I really don't think this guy has the confidence or the ball vision. He holds the ball for way too long. He's not even running the ball as good anymore. He has 14 rushes for only 62 yards on 13 attempts, but he's not even getting the ball off, and Luke Getsy is not proving himself as a coordinator, and it looks bad there. But I think it's more of a problem with Justin Fields, honestly, than Luke Getsy, because Justin Fields, he looks lost out there. He looks like he has no awareness, no vision. As much as Bears fans want to blame Luke Getsy, I think it's more of a combination.
I agree. I think Fields has looked awful coming into this year. Two touchdowns and 3 interceptions in 2 games is not a great look for a passer that was supposed to improve this year.
Not only that, the Bears actually did end up spending the second most money in free agency, and still nothing on the defense. They signed 2 linebackers to huge deals, TJ Edwards from the Eagles and Tremaine Edmonds from the Bills, but nothing's working there. You can't have good linebackers do anything if your D-line doesn't even get any pressure. It's a whole mess in Chicago. Bears fans are getting ready to burn their Justin Fields jerseys, and I don't blame them.
Joe Burrow is already considered a football icon, and after consistent years of elite QB play, the LSU product got paid just before the season. Fast forward to today, and the Bengals are winless. What's going on in Cincinnati?
I'll be straight up. Joe Burrow, what happened, man? People blame Zach Taylor. People blame the coordinators. The offense is stagnant. And while that may be true, Joe Burrow looks stagnant. He looks like he doesn't care anymore, truthfully. He looks like he's checking it down every play, which is just embarrassing for the type of quarterback he is. This guy used to push the ball downfield like no other. Literally only Mahomes, I think, could compare. But now he looks lost, like Justin Fields. But I think he's going to probably pick it up by the end of the year. Joe Burrow is Joe Cool after all. Joe Burrow, he knows football, and he's a winner. He's shown that, winning the AFC Championship, almost winning the Super Bowl, winning the college natty with LSU. Joe Burrow knows football, but he needs to step it up. And with that calf injury, it's a huge, huge problem. But, he just has to get back into the rhythm, I think. I think that's the biggest issue.
I think you have to remember that Joe Burrow started off with an ankle injury to the season. He did not play in training camp. So coming into the year, he's barely practiced. So obviously he's going to look rusty in his first game against a very good Cleveland Browns defense.
Yeah, but come on, you can't just have that excuse anymore. He's a fourth-year quarterback now, former first overall pick. We've seen what this guy can do. I don't think rustiness is a good enough excuse. This guy needs to be more aggressive. I think that's the biggest issue easily.
Do you think any of his teammates could help him out?
I think personally Zach Taylor needs to figure out the play calling. He's been awful recently. He's being carried by that playoff run that they had 2 years ago, and he hasn't shown that he can be a competent play caller ever since.
Yeah, Jamar Chase isn't getting enough targets. T. Higgins is getting more targets. That whole offense situation is very strange. And Joe Mixon looks like half the running back he used to. That team looks very sad, to say the least, and they're already starting off 0-2 in division play, which is not a good sign. I don't think they started 0-2 last year, and usually the team that starts 0-2 doesn't usually end up winning the division, but the Bengals are the Bengals.
The Bengals are struggling, to say the least. The Colorado Buffaloes, led by Coach Deion Sanders and his star quarterback son, Shooter Sanders, are currently 3-0 even after facing so much criticism and doubt. It seems they are weathering the storm and closing mouths. So that really just begins the question: is this Colorado team actually a contender?
I think this team's looking a lot better than some people were saying to start out the year. However, they are not a playoff contender. Going into this, they have a lot of talent, but it's a lot of young talent, not very experienced, and I think they're set right now they're ranked 19 right now. I think that's a good spot for them. Coming in, their next 2 games are at Oregon and against USC. I think they're going to get murdered in these next 2 games and really come down to earth here.
They barely held their own against Colorado State, but that team, they have dog in them. They have fight. I will say that. The team cares. Deion Sanders is proven already to be one of the most charismatic coaches in college football. Coach Prime knows what he's doing, at least when it comes to getting people hyped. And I think everyone on the team is willing to die for that man, truthfully. So for that reason, I think any given Sunday applies the most to any sport in football. Any given Sunday is true. I think the Colorado team can be competitive down the stretch. I do believe they have the talent, especially. Well, Travis Hunter's now out. Sure, Sanders is playing like a first-round pick. I will say that. He looks great. I don't know, man. I definitely think they could end up making a push, assuming they end up getting that competitive down the stretch. I mean, I will say teams like Texas, FSU, Michigan, USC, Penn State, Washington, they're all better, I'd say, confidently. But you never know. Like, college football is college football. This team could definitely, I think, make a push towards the end of the year. And I think they have enough hype to potentially even earn a playoff spot.
As the WNBA playoffs begin to kick off, there's one looming question that has fans on their seat. Who will be the 2023 WNBA MVP?
I think it's clear as day. It's got to be Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson is leading the best team in the WNBA as the best player. I don't think it's too hard to say. You can see up there, Asia Wilson's averaging 23 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. A super impressive stat line. And you can't even argue the fact that her team's stacked because she's the one leading the way. You can argue that she's the one opening up everything. It's because she is. She's easily the best player in that team. And the Aces are 34-6. They only have 1 loss at home, which is basically unheard of. Asia Wilson should absolutely be the MVP. Let's not get caught up here.
I think Wilson is a great player, but you have to think about Alyssa Thomas and what she does for her team. She's not just a pure scorer. She also helps on the rebounds and the assists. And she's honestly carrying this Connecticut team to bring them to 3rd place. I think you have to consider her.
I want you to think about that for a second. You said 3rd. You know where the Aces are? And what matters the most? The 1st. And for that reason, I think it's clear as day. She's going to steal it. She's going to walk away with it.
After U.S. track star Noah Lyles won the Triple Crown at the 2023 World Championships, he called out the NBA. Lyles said that they are champions of the U.S., not the world. After the U.S. men's national team placed 4th in the FIBA World Cup, and the U.S. women's soccer team were out in the round of 16 in the World Cup. This leaves us with the question, has the world caught up? What do you think?
Truthfully, I think they got to catch up. I mean, the talent in the NBA, especially in the age of social media, Twitter, scouting, advanced analytics, all that jazz, for lack of a better word, I think all the talent is catching up in the NBA. Nikola Jokic is living proof of that, Joel Embiid. The first team All-Pro for the NBA last season featured 4 out of 5 international players. The only American being Jason Tatum, which I think is insane. I think it's a testament to the fact that everyone's catching up to the U.S. and the FIBA World Tournament, the basketball tournament, and the Women's World Cup are living proof of that. The women's getting knocked out in the round of 16 is just testament to the fact that, yeah, the world has caught up.
The world definitely is catching up, but you have to remember just the wealth of talent that the U.S. has. Yes, these top players are all from Europe, but they're all from different countries in Europe. USA alone has so many top players in the NBA, NFL, and all these different sports. In soccer, I mean, we had an unprecedented run in the Women's World Cup. Just because it's coming to a close now that they're getting old, doesn't mean that all of a sudden we're second fiddle to some other country. I think we're still the best sporting nation in the world.
I think it's completely foolish to just write out the rest of the world. I don't think it's as easy as, oh, we're America, we're better. That's got to be false, man. Come on.
Thanks for the great discussion. We're out of time, but be sure to tune in next week for our coverage of Marquette sports and more. I'm Allison McMillan. Good night, Marquette.